When she forgot about the big shot Mingyue from the past and caught her beloved pet who could shuttle back and forth, she embarked on the path of slapping her face and never returning. Scumbag boyfriend. You take the blame for me, come out in the wind, marry you, and come in. Mingyue. Sorry, I will send you to prison and also trap you for 200,000 yuan. Agent. You're just an outdated female celebrity, do you really think you're amazing? Mingyue. Sorry, actually I took a fan fiction script. General killing wife. Although I killed you, I will always remember you. Mingyue. Sorry, this time I am a military commander from my homeland, and you are just an enemy soldier. Fake young master. Isn't it because you are greedy for our family's wealth and prosperity that you want to recognize your ancestors and return to your ancestors? Marrying me can also do it. Mingyue. I'm sorry, but now it's your family asking me to recognize my ancestors and return to them. Beast Lord. Women are too weak and worthless except for giving birth. Mingyue. Sorry, the man is too weak and has nothing to resist. Master Xianjun. Although I dig your heart, whip your body, abolish your cultivation, and use your divine soul to nourish the sky, I truly love you. Mingyue. Sorry, there's no need, pervert ba. Sherdai Wenma Baonan. It's not easy for my mother to raise me so much, so you shouldn't make her angry. Mingyue. Sorry, it's not easy for my family to raise me so much. No one should make me angry. P.S. No CP, the female lead is only beautiful. PSS. The preview plane is randomly updated. PSSS. Don't tell if you don't like it, don't want to know. Please, keywords of the novel. Fast wearing. Daily show-off skills of the face-beating demon, no pop-ups, fast wearing. Daily show-off skills of the face-beating demon complete collection, download TXT, fast wearing. Daily show-off skills of the face-beating demon, latest chapter reading. Chapter 1. 001 Replacing Guilty Girlfriend 1. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Chapter 1001 Replacing Guilty Girlfriend 1, Mingyue, please help me this time, otherwise my entire life will be ruined. Yeah, Mingyue, you should go to the police station and surrender yourself, saying you hit and run. Although Hausa ran into someone this time, be honest and lenient. If you surrender, it will take at most 3 to 5 years to come out. Don't worry, I will keep an eye on Hausa for you. He dare not act recklessly outside. Mingyue had just regained consciousness when she heard mixed advice from men and women in her ear. She blinked her eyes and saw clearly the situation before her. She saw a pair of handsome men and women who looked like they were in their 20s and 60s, looking at her eagerly, hoping that she would agree to their outrageous requests. To take responsibility for someone. Or the kind that kills people. If it weren't for her fear of losing her character, Mingyue would really want to ask them. Are you okay? The bright moon's eyes drooped slightly, pretending to be thoughtful. She whispered in the sea of consciousness, Feishuang, pass on the plot of this world to me. The luoli sound of Feishuang is as sweet as ever. Okay, dear master. With just a blink of an eye, the plot of this world was transmitted to Mingyue's mind. The original owner of this body, also known as Mingyue, was born into a family that prioritized sons over daughters. She was insecure and sensitive, and had a down-to-earth soft bun personality. However, when God closes the door for people, he will open a window for them, so this girl is also proud in her studies. From childhood to adulthood, she consistently ranked among the top in her studies and was even admitted to one of the best universities in China, Q University. Even though her parents didn't want her daughter to go to school out of town, fearing that her daughter would lose control, under the guidance of the school teachers, and out of consideration that only her older sister could succeed and take better care of her younger brother in the future, her parents still compromised, and she eventually had the opportunity to leave her original family. Unfortunately, the original owner was too lacking in love and escaped from a pit of fire, but then turned around and fell into another cage. Due to her personality flaws and excessive emotional deficiency, when someone casually gave her a candy, she eagerly offered a genuine one. Whether it was making friends or boyfriends, her vision and luck were not very good. I casually gave her a bouquet of flowers and said 2 words of love to confess my feelings. From then on, my boyfriend who had been talking to her for 3 years saw her as obedient, hardworking, and carefully pleasing, believing that this would fully satisfy my masculinity. She was only given fruit once in the dormitory, and a former roommate whom she had known for 5 years claimed to be a good friend, but in reality, she took advantage of her and only treated her as a scapegoat. Most of the expenses were paid by her on a daily basis, and she didn't say anything about it. Even her and her boyfriend's sharing and dating had to be interfered with. Unfortunately, her years of humble living conditions have made her accustomed to silence and oppression by everyone. So after his boyfriend Suhausa killed someone and instinctively escaped, his first thought was to come find her as a scapegoat. And her good friend Song Feifei kept talking for Suhausa, even telling her that you would go to jail for him. He wouldn't treat you like a precious child in the future, and would always hold you in his hands and make such nonsense. Only the foolish love brain of the original owner would listen to such words in his heart. She is so eager to be loved, let alone the 2 people she values the most in her life are both persuading her. So not only did she go to jail to take the blame for the scumbag, but before going to jail, she also left all her savings over the years to the scumbag for investment. However, after 10 years of imprisonment, she realized that her boyfriend and best friend had been married for 9 years, and their children were already 10 years old. You know, she had only been in prison for 10 years. You taste, you savor. So, the original manager naturally suffered financial and personal losses, and his reputation was completely damaged. She also licked her face and went to the door. She wanted to ask why they were treating her like this, but what she received was her best friend scolding in her boyfriend's merciless mocking face. The sentence, "How could you have the face to go out as a prisoner through labor," became the last straw that crushed her, making her choose to end her wrong life hastily. Before taking a large amount of sleeping pills, the original owner was still very puzzled. Clearly, she went to jail for her boyfriend. Clearly, she believed her best friend's words before going to jail. Why did the person who ended up wrong turn out to be herself? Unfortunately, even if the original owner died, he did not receive the attention of scumbags and despicable women. Even news media reports only said that a certain woman could not adapt to her life after being released from prison, so she took sleeping pills to commit suicide. Her parents had been rushing to draw a clear line with her since they knew she was in prison, fearing that her bad reputation would drag down Jean Gui's younger brother, and no one would be saddened by her death. She has lived a pitiful and pitiful life. In short, this is a story where a romantic brain takes the blame for her boyfriend, but after being imprisoned, she discovers that her boyfriend and best friend have been married and have children for several years, and eventually cannot bear to have a suicide. Mingyue let out a sigh in her heart. The original owner was too foolish and timid. Whether it was to blame someone or commit suicide, they were all incredibly foolish. Even as an extraterrestrial wandering soul for thousands of years, Mingyue has long forgotten the past and only remembers her own name. She is very clear in her heart that she should never rely on others for hope. The love given by others can be revoked at any time, and only loving herself is the way. But now, everything has started over again. Fei Shuang, what is the original owner's wish? Mingyue calmly asked a question in Shihai. The name Fei Shuang was given by Mingyue. It was originally a product of the chaos outside the sky and was born with the ability to travel through time and space. It can take Mingyue into the vast world and help those who have merit but have a difficult fate fulfill their wishes. Of course, in this way, Mingyue can also benefit greatly. Not only can she receive gifts of merit from those who are destined, but she can also continuously refine her divine soul, perhaps one day recalling her past. The original form of Fei Shuang was a white-haired ball with wings. Now it has transformed into the image of a mini nine-tailed fox, bouncing in the sea of consciousness under the bright moon. Master, the original owner's wish is no longer to blame Su Haoze, to live her own life well in the future, and she also wants to help her fellow inmates Wang Liyan and Lu Jiejia. She thinks they should not have such a life. The bright moon raised her eyebrows slightly. Although the original owner was a little stupid in emotion, his heart was true, good and beautiful. Even though I have been exposed to the rain all along, I can't help but want to hold an umbrella for others. I truly deserve the reincarnation of an immeasurable person. Thinking that the two inmates in the original owner's memory were indeed pitiful, and they had not committed anything yet, Mingyue was willing to lend them a hand. So. She will be busy next. Mingyue, what are you staring at? The situation is so urgent now, can you help me or not? Can you give me an explanation? Song Feifei pushed Mingyue, who was in a daze, and asked impatiently. Su Haoze also furrowed his brows and asked discontentedly, "It's a shame that you still said you love me and didn't want you to help me. Your love is too fake, right?" Mingyue finally woke up and her gaze fell on the dog man and woman who sang and reconciled. "Do me a favor. Is this a general help?" Mingyue hooked her lips, revealing a humble smile exclusive to the original owner, and her tone was extremely gentle. "Help, how could I not help you? Of course I would help you." Speaking of this, before the dog man and woman could breathe a sigh of relief, the bright moon's tone changed and she said loudly, "Give me 200,000 cash, I'll surrender myself immediately." The smile on Su Haoze's face completely froze. Song Feifei also opened her mouth in surprise. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. 002 Substituting Girlfriend 2. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2002 Substituting Girlfriend 2. If you want a horse to run, of course you have to feed it. There's nothing in the world that can be done for nothing. However, it must be admitted that not everyone understands this truth. The original owner's soft bun image is too deeply ingrained in people's hearts. So much so that when the dog and the man heard 200,000 yuan, they all thought they had heard it wrong, or maybe they thought Mingyue was joking, and they didn't take it seriously at all. In just a moment, Su Haoze regained his senses. His face was moved as he wanted to take Mingyue's hand, and his mouth was greasy as he painted a cake. "Mingyue, I know you love me the most. Don't worry, as long as you help me this time, I will definitely wait for you to come out, and then marry you into the house, treating you well for a lifetime." Obviously, scumbags are selectively deaf. Upon hearing these words, Song Feifei beside her flattened her mouth with some displeasure and said sourly, "Yes, as long as you help Haoze this time, he will definitely cherish you well in the future." Su Haoze recognized the displeasure in her words and didn't forget to soothe her with his eyes. Seeing his gaze, Song Feifei felt sweet and astringent in her heart, and couldn't help but show a cute and sweet smile on her face. These two really used Mingyue as the background completely, and in front of Mingyue, they started flirting with each other with their eyes. Only those who are as foolish and sweet as the original owner will unconditionally believe in them, so it is impossible to see the collusion between them. Mingyue leaned aside and dodged the salty pig's hand, with a hint of mockery in her smile. "Are you saying you agree? 200,000 cash, as long as the money is in place, everything will be easy to say." Mingyue emphasized again, which made the two of them realize that she seemed serious. At this moment, Su Haoze couldn't care about coaxing women anymore, and his face immediately collapsed. He stared incredulously and questioned loudly, "Mingyue, we are boyfriend and girlfriend. How could you extort me at such a time?" Song Feifei also frowned and said, "That's right, Mingyue. Don't joke anymore. Now is not the time to joke. Let me take the blame and go to jail. I have to have some security, right? I can't just go to the police station to confess my guilt with just a few words from you." I'm not a fool. Mingyue looked at Su Haoze with a gloomy expression and said, and we've been together for so many years, you can't even let go of 2 to 100,000. Don't you love me anymore? Su Haoze was dumbfounded. If Mingyue dared to speak to him in this tone as usual, he would have been angry and scolded her a long time ago. Love her? It's just a joke. If it weren't for her obedience and quick work, taking care of him like a free nanny, how could he have talked to her for 3 years based on her uninteresting old lady image, who never dresses up? But today is different from the past. Who said he killed someone and needed someone to help him take the blame? And besides his foolish girlfriend, no one really wants to do this for him. So he could only smile apologetically and coax carefully, Mingyue, I didn't mean that. Of course, I love you. But 200,000 is not a small amount, and I can't get it out now. And you're all in prison, what's the use of taking money? You know, money is worth depreciating quickly now. It's not like I use it to invest in business. When you come out, you'll just become the boss's wife. Do you think that's the truth? Song Feifei's eyes rolled and she also chimed in, yes, money is worth depreciating quickly now. If you want me to say that for your future, Mingyue, you still have to entrust all the money you have saved over the years to Haoze to do business. Anyway, you will go to jail. Upon hearing these words, Su Haoze immediately cast an appreciative glance at Song Feifei. Isn't that right? Anyway, Mingyue is going to jail, so it's better to get that money cheaper for him. The bright moon cast a sideways glance at the dog man and woman. It was truly shameless, invincible in the world. However, I'll put my words here today. As long as the money is in place, everything will be easy to say, and nothing else will be of use. Mingyue bit her lips with a determined expression, indicating that she was determined. This honest person's stubbornness is indeed a headache, because she has her own set of beliefs, the kind of person who doesn't look back once she's determined. Is Su Haoze spoiled by the original owner? He has always been coaxed, how can he have the patience to coax others in the opposite direction? I didn't expect you to be such a gold digger. Humph, I misread you. He glared at Mingyue fiercely, turned around, and walked towards the room. The bedroom door was slammed shut by him. The bright moon's lowered eyes were full of satire. The original owner had lived with him in a rental house for 3 years, worked during the day and came back to do household chores at night. He never asked him for a penny, and he never even received a flower. How could he say that she worshipped money? A man without ability or ability only has the means to deceive women. When women don't eat that kind of thing, he starts jumping and cursing them for being vain. Song Feifei was also angry in her heart that Mingyue's oil and salt did not enter, but after Su Haoze left, there must be someone to persuade Mingyue to bow down, right? After all, it was Su Haoze who killed people now. Song Feifei grabbed Mingyue's arm and said in a tone of hatred, Mingyue, why are you so confused? If you went to help him go to jail this time, it would be a great help for him. It would make him grateful to you and remember owing you for a lifetime. How could you think of asking him for money? Talking about money can hurt feelings, isn't it in vain? If it weren't for wanting to maintain the honesty of the original owner, Mingyue would have wanted to ask her. Do you have any logic in listening to what you're saying? Feifei, actually I'm trying to test him. Mingyue bit her lip and deliberately lowered her voice. With such a big deal of imprisonment, of course I want to test his sincerity towards me. Actually, I've already thought about it. If he really gave me money, I'll hide it in the house and tell him when I leave. But. Speaking of which, Mingyue showed a sad expression. Think about it too, just try to explore and find out that your boyfriend is not a good thing, can't you be sad? Song Feifei suddenly realized, and as soon as she heard her words, she knew it was not good. She quickly explained to Su Haoze, Mingyue, don't think too much. You must be in chaos when you think about what happened to Haoze. You're asking for money now, isn't it causing trouble? No wonder he's impatient. Wait a moment, I'll go talk to him and say, don't worry, we're good girlfriends. I'm definitely on your side. I won't tell him, you're trying to test him. Mingyue couldn't help but sneer in her heart, but her face was filled with sincerity and gratitude. It's good to have you, Feifei. You are really my good friend. Song Feifei looked away with a hint of guilt and didn't dare to look at her. That's because we've been in a relationship for so many years, she said. Then Song Feifei went into Su Hao's room to find him. A lonely man and a widow, living in the same room, she really didn't consider herself an outsider at all. TSK. All these years of love. Mingyue lowered her eyes to conceal her disdain. The original owner really fed the dog with so many years of love. Well, it's not a loss either, after all, 200,000 yuan. She roughly calculated that this dog man and woman have only saved around 100,000 yuan over the years, and it is estimated that they will have to borrow money from someone to make up for this amount. Keeping it safe will help them regain their memory. And Mingyue's eyes flickered with cunning. She should also receive a reward for reporting to the police station, right? Before long, the dog man and woman came out of the room. At this moment, Su Hao indeed relaxed his grip and promised to give Mingyue 200,000 yuan in cash. Watching Song Feifei and Su Hao go out together to collect money, Mingyue's eyes were filled with profound meaning. Taking advantage of this time, she can also do something. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. 003 Substituting Girlfriend 3. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3003 Substituting Girlfriend 3. Perhaps Su Hao is really anxious. After only about 10 minutes, he returned carrying his suitcase, and Song Feifei walked behind him, exhausted and panting. After handing over the suitcase to Mingyue, Su Hao immediately breathed a sigh of relief. He quickly urged, all right, the money is all in there. Now that the money is also given to you, you should quickly surrender yourself. Mingyue gave him a sideways glance and said, it's 3 a.m. now. Can you at least make me wake up before we talk? As soon as Su Hao instinctively wanted to choke on her, he was pulled by Song Feifei behind him. Song Feifei gave him a glance and said, yes, Hao, you're not in a hurry. Just let Mingyue wake up and go. Song Feifei thought to herself, anyway, the person who will be imprisoned will be Mingyue. What's the point of surrendering sooner or later? Even Mingyue, it would be better to judge for a few more years. After all, even if it's 4. She touched her belly, she doesn't want to be an underground girlfriend all the time. Su Hao also reacted, afraid that this guy might upset Mingyue, so although he had a long face, he didn't say anything. The money was already in hand, and Mingyue was too lazy to get used to his bad habits. She carried her suitcase and went straight back to her room. Fortunately, this dog man and woman are only focused on happiness now and have no intention of caring about Mingyue's personality changes. The original owner was a very traditional person, and with the insertion of Song Feifei, although she was nominally cohabiting with Su Hao, she actually came to work as a subsidized nanny for this dog couple. This house is a 3-bedroom apartment, with a scumbag living in the master bedroom. The original owner and Song Feifei both lived in the second bedroom, which saved Mingyue a lot of trouble. Mingyue opened the suitcase and counted the points, which was exactly 200,000 yuan, no more, no less. Later, she tidied up the important items of the original owner again. There were not many things, just some documents and so on. As for the street vendor clothing that the original owner had worn for 7 or 8 years, she had no plans to continue wearing it in the future. After half an hour, Mingyue saw that the light passing through the living room through the crack in the door had extinguished, and she knew that both the dog and the man had returned to the house. As for who's going back to her house, she's not sure. Of course, she didn't care either. Anyway, she arranged small gifts for both houses. Mingyue didn't go out immediately, but waited for another half hour before quietly leaving the door with a suitcase containing important items. At this point, both Su Haoze and Song Feifei had fallen into deep sleep, and of course, they didn't know about Mingyue's departure. Mingyue first went to the hotel to open a room and put away her luggage, then took a taxi directly to the police station. After Su Haoze discovered that he had killed someone, he immediately drove away. The road was quite remote and there was no surveillance, so no one has found the dead person until now. After Mingyue's report, the police quickly went to the scene of the incident. Subsequently, Mingyue's report was confirmed, and Su Haoze, who was still in bed with a bewildered expression, was caught by the police brought by Mingyue. Meanwhile, Song Feifei, who was also lying on Su Haoze's bed, hurriedly tightened the blanket and let out an astonishing scream. You guys, who are you? Several police officers in the same department have all heard Mingyue say that the person she reported this time is her boyfriend. They originally thought this little girl was quite righteous, but they were willing to commit acts of righteousness against her family. Now, when they see that there are other women in her boyfriend's bed, come on, what else do you guys not understand? Emotions are not just scumbags or scumbags, they deserve this reward. The police officer showed his identification and said disdainfully, "We are police officers, isn't Su Haoze? We received a report from a kind-hearted citizen that you hit and ran after killing someone. Please come with us." Su Haoze is completely foolish, just not in the situation. He was almost incoherent in his sophistry. "I didn't mean to, I didn't want to either. It was that person who rushed out on their own, no, not me. This is simply self-deprecating." Song Feifei became even more anxious. You know, she's not wearing any clothes now, and she can't help but shrink into the blanket. No matter how many police officers there are, since the suspect does not cooperate, they should follow the process. The police officer took out handcuffs and stepped forward, "Come with us. Let's talk to the police station if there's anything we need." Mingyue, who was standing at the back, touched her chin and made a mistake. Perhaps she could have reported Su Haoze's female ticket, Nucheng, earlier. But soon there was a smile on the corner of Mingyue's mouth, which was not bad now. Although the scene was eye-catching, it was quite pleasing to her eyes. Su Haoze, seeing the handcuffs, quickly hid under the blanket and said in a muffled voice, "Don't come over, wait for me to get dressed." The police officer's gaze was even more contemptuous, but he was actually given a few minutes to get dressed, and Mingyue was the first to leave the room. When the police were about to take Su Haoze away, he finally saw the bright moon in the living room. In an instant, Su Haoze felt like he had seen a savior, and his mind quickly began to move. "Mingyue, by the way," Su Haoze paused and said excitedly to Mingyue, "Mingyue, tell them quickly that you killed the person and you hit and ran. You go back to the police station with them and explain to them. This matter has nothing to do with me." Mingyue paid no attention to his intentions and only nodded kindly towards a few police officers. Well, it looks like 4:30 a.m. now, and the police officers are really working hard to get out of the police. The police officers also felt sorry for this girl's bad behavior when she met someone. Even if her boyfriend had an affair, they would let it go and even delude her into taking the blame. At present, the police officers also nodded at Mingyue and tightened Su Haoze's grip, shouting, "Be honest." Su Haoze was stunned, of course he was not a fool. Judging from the attitude of Mingyue and the police, as well as Mingyue's neat attire, it is already very clear who the enthusiastic citizen who reported him is. But how could that person be Mingyue? Is it the bright moon who loves him to the bone and has always been cautious towards him? Although Su Haoze has always been suppressing Mingyue in his mouth, he actually knows very well that in this world, besides his mother, Mingyue is the most sincere to him. However, sometimes sincerity is the most boring, and life still needs some excitement to be fun, which is why he gets mixed up with Song Feifei. After all, the flamboyant Song Feifei is much better than the never-dressed Mingyue, and taking her out will also give him more face. But he never imagined that the moon would treat him like this one day. In his opinion, no matter what he did, Mingyue should give up on him wholeheartedly and remain steadfast. Mingyue, why are you? He looked at her with a somewhat bewildered gaze, just about to question her. At this moment, Song Feifei finally got dressed and opened the door to chase after her. She caught sight of Mingyue at a glance and her eyes lit up. Mingyue, you came just in time. Tell them quickly that you were the one who killed the person, otherwise they will take Hausa away. Sure enough, there is still some tacit understanding between scumbags and cheap women. Although the sound insulation of the house is good, they share the same heart and say the same thing. Mingyue sneered in her heart, but her face was full of politeness. She bent down again to the police officers and said, "Please take this trip." At this moment, the police officers no longer lingered and forced Su Hausa, who didn't want to leave the door. Until the sound of the police car outside the door sounded, Song Feifei still couldn't come to her senses. So, those police officers were all called by Mingyue. Why is she relying on it? End of this chapter. Chapter 4. 004 Substituting Guilty Girlfriend 4. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4004 Substituting Guilty Girlfriend 4. At this moment, Song Feifei had completely forgotten the embarrassment of being caught and raped in bed by the police, and her head was filled with anger and confusion. She grabbed Mingyue's arm tightly and asked with a nearly sinister expression on her face, "What exactly do you mean, Mingyue? Didn't you say you wanted to take responsibility for Hausa? How could you call the police to arrest him? He's your boyfriend, why are you such a ruthless person?" Mingyue brushed her hand away and walked toward Su Hausa's room. Song Feifei's eyes paused, and now she felt a little guilty. I wonder if Mingyue had seen the scene just now. Also, what exactly does Mingyue want to do? But she immediately found out. After Mingyue entered the house, she stepped on the stool and took the phone from the top of the wardrobe facing the bed. The phone has long been muted by Mingyue, and in fact, Mingyue has also placed it in Song Feifei's room, which is the backup phone that Su Hausa recently phased out. Mingyue turned off the recording, then raised her phone and turned her head to look at Song Feifei. Cruelty. Boyfriend. Boyfriend who had sex with her best friend, I don't recognize him. Song Feifei's pupils couldn't help but enlarge, and at this moment she understood why everything was happening. Because Mingyue knows everything. And she also recorded a video. Thinking of what she and Su Hausa had said and done in bed, Song Feifei's face turned green. And Song Feifei also realized it. You already knew about our relationship, you intentionally asked us for money, deliberately reported Hausa, you. That 200000. Song Feifei thought of this, her whole body was almost breathless. You should know that Su Hausa can't even take out 200,000 yuan. That amount of money is nearly 100,000 yuan, which she used online loans to show her sincerity. She thought she would get it back the next day, but now, it's clear that Mingyue won't return 200,000 yuan. No wonder Mingyue asked for cash. Only cash will not be recovered so much, and even asset flows have no trace. Mingyue can completely deny that she has taken money. Watching her feel so uncomfortable, Mingyue's heart was inexplicably filled with a sense of joy, which was probably an emotion left by the original owner. Yeah, I worked as a cow and a horse and even paid my own expenses. I've been serving a dog and a man for so many years, and 200,000 yuan is not much. Even if you hire a nanny, it's not just that amount. Mingyue smiled at the corner of her mouth and walked towards the door. The matter is already over, and Mingyue has no desire to continue staying. Isn't it good to go back to the hotel and sleep in the cage? Song Feifei saw that she was going to leave, but her heart was completely flustered. Song Feifei knew that no matter what, she couldn't let Mingyue leave now, otherwise she might not be able to find the 200,000 yuan. Mingyue, I begged you, I was wrong. I really know I was wrong. Please give me the money back. After all these years of our relationship, I just couldn't figure out the wrong path for a moment. I swear, I will always be away from Hausa. Oh no, Su Hausa, Mingyue. Song Feifei pleaded and reached out to pull Mingyue. Seeing her appearance, Mingyue knew that what was recorded on her phone was really quite informative. Mingyue dodged her hand and raised her phone in a playful tone, saying, "In the future, don't make me angry anymore, otherwise I don't know where I'll send it." Song Feifei settled down, having known each other for so many years. Mingyue knew most of her friends and also knew the location of her company. If Mingyue really spreads the video, will she still be a human in the future? She dare not gamble on the anger of an honest person. Song Feifei's hand stopped in mid-air, her mouth opened a few times but she couldn't speak. Mingyue turned around and left, but this time it went quite smoothly. And when Song Feifei saw her walking away, her body collapsed on the bed. It's over, Su Hausa is over, and she is also over. How can she repay 100,000 yuan? No, she needs to go to Mingyue's room to look, maybe the money hasn't been taken yet. She barely perked up her spirits. Mingyue returned to the hotel for a brief wash, and only then did she lie down and sleep as the sky began to darken. She slept until 10:30 in this moment. After waking up, I realized that there were a few missed calls and text messages on my phone, all from the company leaders and colleagues of the original owner. Today Mingyue was late. My colleague said that the manager was very angry and wanted to deduct her full attendance and bonus for this month. She asked her to come to the company as soon as possible and help bring some food and drink on the way. She also sent a long list of purchases. The message sent by the manager is angrily cursing Mingyue, thinking that the company belongs to your family. If you don't want to work anymore, just leave early. Don't think you graduated from Q University and are very impressive. Coincidentally, Mingyue really has no plans to continue working in this company. The company where the original owner is currently working is a private enterprise in this city, with generally more benefits, and most of the entire company is of the type of related party. Originally, according to the original owner's graduation school, it was impossible to get into a better company, and even if it didn't work out, one could still become the management of a small company. Unfortunately, the original owner had a romantic mind. Su Hausa said that if he liked his girlfriend, he would take care of him nearby, which led her to choose this company that is close to the rental house. After staying for several years, he is still an ordinary employee. People are good at being bullied, because the former owner has a high education and is always a quirky manager, a boss who can't figure out big and small things, and always blames the former owner's colleagues for everything. These grievances can be endured by the former owner, but Mingyue can't bear them. Whoever likes to accept them will accept them. Mingyue did not reply to the message, but got up in an orderly manner to wash up. After finishing her meal and taking a nap, she was full of energy before taking a leisurely taxi to the company. During this period, the people in the company seemed to be inseparable from the bright moon at all, bombarding them with many phone calls and text messages, but she didn't pay attention to any of them. Mingyue, what did you do today? The manager has been angry all day, you. The front desk was just saying when they suddenly gave Mingyue a wink. Mingyue nodded politely at her and said without hesitation, "I'll resign." Before the front desk could react, they just nodded and said, "Oh, resign. So you're here to resign." Speaking of which, the front desk suddenly woke up and its voice suddenly became louder. What? Mingyue, you're resigning. The manager, who rushed out in anger upon hearing the sound, immediately collapsed and said in a sinister tone, "Resignation. Why? Q University graduates, are you looking for a good place to go? Also, our company has a small temple, where can we afford your great Buddha?" Mingyue looked up at the middle-aged man in front of her and suddenly curled her lips and smiled, "Yes, your company is too small, and I'm not going to hurt myself." The manager, who originally thought she would explain obediently, almost burst into tears upon hearing these words. The front desk also widened its eyes and cast an admiring gaze at Mingyue. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. 005 Substituting Guilty Girlfriend 5. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5005 Substituting Guilty Girlfriend 5. Yes, no one could have imagined that this hard-working and honest person would resign. Mingyue is clearly recognized as the notorious scapegoat who should have been enslaved by everyone in the company. The manager quickly woke up and subconsciously threatened, "Mingyue, what attitude are you taking? Do you still want this month's bonus and salary?" However, Mingyue now understands labor laws better than him, let alone as a former finance department employee. No one knows better than her where the company has problems. "So, of course you can tamper with my salary. It's okay, whether it's dealing with the labor bureau or the tax bureau, I'm quite skilled." Mingyue's gaze was not at all restrained, and the meaning of her words was also very obvious. The manager's face stiffened and he was the first to shift his gaze away. At this point, the manager realized that when an honest person becomes tough, you cannot hold on to her. For example, the bright moon now. A few colleagues who followed out to watch the excitement and didn't mind the situation, exchanged glances at each other and started stirring up trouble one by one. "Mingyue, don't be impulsive. You're not a fresh graduate now, and it's not easy to find a job outside. Yes, you were absent from work without saying hello today. It's appropriate for the manager to say a few words to you. Yeah, you've been working here for so many years, how can you just resign?" Mingyue only smiled at them without saying anything and went directly to the HR department. The resignation process went smoothly, except for occasional sarcastic remarks from the manager and the enthusiastic efforts of a few colleagues to persuade them to stay. There were no other obstacles. Of course, those colleagues are not very kind either. It's because Mingyue is the backbone of the entire finance department. With her departure, many people in the company may be in a hurry, and it's difficult to find honest and hardworking people. But what does that have to do with the bright moon? After completing the resignation procedures, Mingyue returned to the hotel with something under the cold face of the manager. "Yes, good. Could you please, Aunt Chen? I'll find someone to move in the next few days and call you to inspect the house later." Mingyue hung up the landlord's phone and turned to look at the moving company online. The previous rent for the house was still 2 months overdue, and Mingyue has already contacted the landlord to terminate the lease. The original owner has been living there for over 3 years, and she has always been in contact with the landlord to pay the rent. The relationship with the landlord is quite good. Knowing that she was going to terminate her lease, the landlord didn't make things difficult for her. "It's just that the area is quite popular, so we need to move out quickly to terminate the lease." The original owner was a relatively frugal person, but he didn't have anything valuable to take away. Those old clothes should be collected and donated later. Mingyue found a recycling station with a relatively high positive rating and agreed with the staff to come to their doorstep. After a busy day's rest, Mingyue began to think about the future. The original owner's wish is no longer to take the blame for the scumbag, but also to help fellow inmates Wang Liyan and Lu Jiejia. The first one is already completed, but the last 2 are a bit difficult. In the original owner's memory, Wang Liyan was imprisoned 3 years later due to her husband's preference for sons over daughters. Her mother-in-law covered her daughter alive and buried her body in the middle of the road, saying that she would let her child be trampled on by countless people, so that other little girls would not dare to be reincarnated in their home. Just like this, Wang Liyan's husband still thinks that his mother did the right thing. He also said that the second child must have a boy, and that giving birth to a daughter is a shame in their hometown. Then Wang Liyan went crazy. Taking advantage of her husband's family's lack of attention, she bought rat poison and put it in the rice, almost causing the whole family to go to the west. Unfortunately, this family has been plagued for thousands of years. Apart from Duke Wang Liyan, who was a bit weak and didn't get through, the mother and son actually lived well after washing their stomachs. Moreover, there is no evidence to prove that they have killed their granddaughter, and the mother and son cannot even be convicted. Then Wang Lian suffered and was found guilty of intentional homicide. She also killed her father. In law and was sentenced to life imprisonment. And Lu Jiejia was imprisoned 5 years later, also guilty of intentional homicide, killing her boyfriend whom she had been in love with for 6 years. Lu Jiejia's boyfriend, in order to please her boss, intoxicated her and sent her to the boss's bed. She was a very traditional girl, and couldn't cross this hurdle at once. So she held a knife and cut her boyfriend twice. His boyfriend broke his arm, and then she was ruined for life. Because these things happened in the future, which led to Mingyue being somewhat confused at the moment, after all, the original owner did not remember their current position. Even in the same city, knowing only the name is undoubtedly looking for a needle in a haystack. Unfortunately, Fei Shuang only possesses the skill of traveling through time and space, and cannot appear at any other time, otherwise it is easy to be rejected by the laws of the world. So Mingyue can only rely on herself. Forget it, take your time one by one. After a long time, Mingyue moved her stiff body and said, "Let's first find a breakthrough from Wang Lian's side." After all, in Mingyue's memory, Wang Lian once said that her husband's profession is the gatekeeper of the 7th middle school in this city. It is said that the two met on a blind date, and the husband was an honest and obedient gatekeeper among the introduced population. Unfortunately, being obedient means being obedient, just listening to his parents. Coincidentally, Mingyue saw on the recruitment website that number 7 middle school is recruiting a teacher assistant, who also includes accommodation, so she doesn't need to rent another room. Miss Ming, I see from your resume that you graduated from the Chinese Department of Q University. However, in the past few years, you have been working in finance, so why did you suddenly think of changing careers to become a teaching assistant? The principal asked, curiously looking at Mingyue in front of her. She was actually a girl with a determined eye. You should know that separated industries are like separated mountains, and finance and education are two completely different fields. Because sometimes when it comes to finance, I feel helpless. As someone with a less smooth personality, I can't do everything in this field, so I have been an ordinary employee for so many years. Speaking of this, Mingyue's face showed a bitter smile, but soon she was relieved and said, teaching and educating people has been my dream since I was young. Since I want to change careers, of course, I have to choose a career that I like. I hope principal can give me this opportunity. The principal nodded clearly. Indeed, as for finance, it's inevitable to do something fraudulent. However, the principal still needs to make it clear to Mingyue. Miss Ming, you all know about the salary and benefits of teacher assistants. Because they are not formal employees, so. Mingyue nodded and said, I have learned about it before on the recruitment website. For Mingyue, salary is just a superficial embellishment, so she naturally won't pay much attention. Then the two of them had a detailed conversation for a while, and with the true knowledge of the original owner, the principal was also genuinely satisfied with Mingyue. Soon, Mingyue's new job was finalized. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. 006 Substituting Girlfriend 6. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6006 Substituting Girlfriend 6. Because there were still a lot of trivial matters to deal with, Mingyue finally agreed with the principal to resume work after a week. When leaving number 7 middle school, Mingyue glanced at the guard room, where two men with indistinct faces were happily watching short videos with their heads down. She didn't know who was the bastardly Jin Bao that Wang Lian described as inferior to. Forget it, the days ahead will be long. The bright moon slightly furrowed its eyebrows and lifted its steps as it swept past the guard room. In the following time, Mingyue took some time to go back to the rental house to move things. After Mingyue returned, she saw her room as if it had been robbed, with people rummaging through boxes and cabinets, things haphazardly mixed up, and even the bedboard overturned. Obviously, this is Song Feifei's masterpiece, probably to find the 200,000 yuan in cash. Unfortunately, the thing is not here. Even if Song Feifei lifted the ground, it would be of no use. However, Mingyue didn't see Song Feifei in the room. In the past few days, Song Feifei has sent many messages saying she knew she was wrong and even played the emotional card. Unfortunately, the person who really cared about her has long been gone. And if she truly repented, she wouldn't have flipped through Mingyue's room, which would have been a disaster. Just these clothes, and these bed sheets. Mingyue packed the sorted old clothes and handed them over to the old clothes doorstep recycling personnel. The recycler weighed it with a scale and said, a total of 216 pounds, 50 cents per kilogram. I will give you a total of 54 yuan. Thank you for your support of environmental protection and public welfare. Thank you, Mingyue replied with a smile, collecting the money and sending the recyclers away. Then she mopped up the rental space and gave the unused oil, salt, soy sauce, vinegar, rice, and other things to the neighboring old lady. There was only one 3-door refrigerator and desktop computer left, and Mingyue invited the moving company's personnel to move to the teacher's dormitory at number 7 middle school. Although she may not be considered a formal employee, her benefits are actually quite the same, but her salary and certain benefits are only slightly lower. Before long, the entire rental house was empty. Mingyue was just about to call Song Feifei when she heard the sound of the door opening at the entrance. Mingyue. Mingyue, you've come back. Why didn't you tell me when you resigned? Do you know how worried I was when I went to your company and couldn't find anyone? By the way, you're not angry with me, are you? I really know I was wrong. After opening the door and seeing Mingyue, Song Feifei first wiped her eyes in disbelief, and then quickly ran in to pull Mingyue's arm, with a pleasing smile on her face and a bunch of words in her mouth. TSK TSK TSK, it's really rare. You should know that in the past, the original owner was afraid that friendship and love would leave her, and she had always been careful to please Song Feifei and Su Haoze. They have always been aloof, how could they see such a look on their faces? So, Song Feifei would also panic, right? Mingyue brushed away her hand and said coldly, why do I need to report my situation to you? I'm just coming back to move things, so hurry up and move out. I've already agreed with the landlord to terminate the lease this month. Song Feifei originally thought that Mingyue, a fool, would only come back after thinking it through, but when she heard that she was going to move out, her heart immediately panicked. Why do you want to return the rent? Aren't we happy living here? Song Feifei wanted to pull Mingyue and was afraid that she would refuse again, so she could only look at her helplessly. Su Haoze has been sentenced, and the past has passed. It's not good for us to continue to be good sisters after so many years of love. That's right, Su Haoze's punishment has come down. He was sentenced to 10 years in prison for violating traffic rules and even escaping, resulting in 1 death. After 10 years of being the same as the original owner, this was still the result of Su Haoze's parents working hard. It's really good to have someone to hold on to everything you do, instead of just waiting like the original owner for family members to clear their ties. Speaking of which, Su Haoze also looks down on Mingyue, so he has never mentioned Mingyue as his girlfriend to his parents. Otherwise, the Su family might have already found Mingyue. Of course, Su Haoze's actual 10-year imprisonment also made Song Feifei regret it. If I had known that Su Haoze would become a prisoner through labor, Song Feifei would not have had anything to do with him, let alone lend him over 100,000 yuan online. Thinking about the money that could not be found, Song Feifei then said, Mingyue, I am your only friend. Are you going to break up with me for such a small matter? Where are sisters important to men? I know you are not such a person who values friends more than women. Look at what you said, it seems that if you don't forgive her, it's Mingyue's fault. But, happy. I was not happy when a cow was a mark. I only cared about you too much before, so I pretended to be happy. But the fact proved that the person who can ignore my efforts, how can he deserve me to pay all the time? Mingyue sneered and stepped back 2 steps. Besides, friend. Good sisters. Having a good sister's friend like you, it's really bloody mildew for 8 generations. I told you, don't mess with me, or those videos. In fact, there are not only Su Haoze but also Song Feifei who have been spoiled by the original owner in recent years. The original owner's arbitrary requests gave Song Feifei confidence and a commanding gaze. Song Feifei angrily said, "How have you become like this now? A person like you who is insecure, weak, and old-fashioned, can't make any friends except for me. Do you want to lose your only friend?" Song Feifei knew how much Mingyue cared about her friend, that's why she threatened like this. However, Mingyue's response was to turn around and leave directly. After all, arguing with a fool will make her foolish. The only friend. No, the original owner is surrounded by vampires, and Mingyue doesn't want to get involved in any of them. Watching Mingyue leave directly, Song Feifei was dumbfounded. How did things end up like this? By the way, that 200,000 cash Song Feifei was about to catch up, but her stomach hurt again and she couldn't help but pause. She looked at her stomach with a resentful expression and couldn't help but curse, "Damn thing, it's just as troublesome as your useless dad." By the time she walked out the door again, the moon had already disappeared and her shadow had disappeared. Thinking that Mingyue had already terminated her lease and the debt of over 100,000 yuan, she felt dizzy and dizzy. At this moment, she truly regretted it. She should have had a good conversation with Mingyue just now. The employee dormitories at number 7 middle school are not bad because other teachers have their own houses, so Mingyue also found a single small apartment. She spent a day decorating the house and purchasing daily necessities, and the whole house finally seemed to have a bit of a sense of life. A week passed in a blink of an eye, and the bright moon finally arrived at the time to start working. When outsiders enter the campus, they must register. Previously, Mingyue was personally brought in by the teacher managing the recruitment website, but he did not deal with the security guard. At this moment, Mingyue looked at the gatekeeper in front of her with the employee sign reading Li Jinbao, and a meaningful smile appeared on her face. With a face full of flesh, is this the simple and honest appearance in the introduction population? Without independent opinions, is this just being honest and straightforward in introducing people? Middle school gatekeeper, is this the easy golden rice bowl among the introduced population? TSK, Wang Lian may have dug up the ancestral tomb of the introduced family in her previous life. But I guess so, how many introducers are genuinely for your good? Most of them treat you as a kind of capital, used to earn personal favor for her. Just this time, Mingyue won't let Wang Lian jump out of this fire pit again. So, Li Jinbao, who values men over women, I'm sorry. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. 007 Substituting Guilty Girlfriend 7. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7007 Substituting Guilty Girlfriend 7. Mingyue's new job is as a teacher assistant in the 3rd year of junior high school, mainly responsible for assisting teachers in teaching work, such as grading homework, being responsible for parent consultation and reception, and on-duty invigilation. Because the high school entrance examination is coming next semester, Mingyue's current work is quite busy. Teacher Ming, thank you for coming. Otherwise, I would have to grade so many papers until when? Teacher Zhang, who teaches mathematics, handed a stack of papers to Mingyue and said with relief. Teacher Huang, who teaches chemistry, also agreed, yes, thanks to the arrival of the bright moon. Otherwise, I wouldn't have had a helper in this experiment and my hands would have been exhausted. The other teachers were nodding their heads, their faces full of admiration. During this period, taking small exams every 3 days and big exams every 5 days is not just tiring for students. Setting questions, solving problems, and grading papers, teachers are even more tired than students. Several homeroom teachers in the 3rd year of junior high school were complaining, and the teachers of several key courses were also passing messages to them, which led to the arrival of the bright moon. Now is a crucial time, and it's worth working hard for those children's future, Mingyue said with a smile as she took the test. Teacher Huang nodded with a smile and said, yes, yes, that's the truth. This statement actually touched the hearts of a few teachers. For the future of those children, for the school's enrollment rate, and for their own good performance, no matter how hard they work, it is still worth it. Because Mingyue is a good person, speaks well, and has no conflicts of interest with others, the teachers in the office have a good impression of Mingyue as a newcomer. They quickly accepted her and she quickly integrated into the new environment of number 7 middle school. Sometimes interpersonal relationships are also easy to handle, depending on the environment. The reason why the original owner has always encountered bad people is not only due to her personality, but also because she is surrounded by the wrong people. Sometimes jumping out of that wrong environmental circle is truly a vast expanse of space. After all, only by bidding farewell to the wrong can we meet the right one. Teacher Ming, are you back so late today? Gatekeeper Lao Zhao looked at Mingyue carrying her bag and asked happily. Mingyue stopped and smiled at Lao Zhao, saying, yes, it's almost time for the high school entrance exam. Time is tight, and I've been a bit busy lately. Lao Zhao gave a thumbs up and said, you're really dedicated. Mingyue shook her head with a smirk and said, what's this all about? Life is not easy. Lao Zhao nodded and said, that's true. It's hard to earn money, it's not easy to be a gatekeeper, and it's not easy to be a teacher. Mingyue waved her hand at Lao Zhao and said, isn't that right? Brother Zhao, please be busy for now, and I'll go back first. Lao Zhao also waved his hand and said, go back, go back. I have to wait for Li Jinbao and his team to take over. During this period, Mingyue and the guards have also had a good relationship. Among these 7, only she probably remembers the name of each guard, and only she greets the guards every morning and evening, occasionally stopping to chat. This also led to Mingyue quickly becoming familiar with the people in the guard room. There are a total of 6 guards in Qizhong, working 3 shifts a day. Except for Li Jinbao, who is a young man who has not yet started a family, the others are all middle-aged uncles. You should know that the salary for security guards is not high, and ambitious young people rarely do this kind of work. Mingyue previously secretly asked another gatekeeper uncle why Li Jinbao was so young to become a gatekeeper, and the answer she received was also speechless. The uncle unexpectedly said that they also asked Li Jinbao about this problem. Li Jinbao said that this was a job that his mother had specially asked for. It was easy to work, and it was an iron rice bowl for social security. It was very good. Besides valuing men over women, he is actually a mother treasure man. So the person who introduced Li Jinbao to Wang Liyan really has a grudge against her, right? Speaking of Wang Liyan, within 2 days, Mingyue heard Lao Zhao say that someone had introduced a partner to Li Jinbao. That girl is said to be a designer who earns a lot of money. She's 3 years older than Li Jinbao, but when she's a 3rd-year-old, she's holding onto a golden brick. Lao Zhao took a sip of tea and winked at Mingyue, lowering her voice and saying, if I had to tell you, Li Jinbao is not even worthy of his daughter. Designer, 3 years older than Li Jinbao, isn't this Wang Liyan? Because she is 3 years older than her husband, Wang Liyan's mother-in-law is afraid that she won't be able to conceive a child. Since getting married, she has been constantly looking for some folk remedies to give birth to a son. She has taken so many bitter medicines and suffered so much, and finally gave birth to a daughter, but she lost her life because she didn't take care of her. How can she be willing to accept this? How can one not be heartbroken or resentful? Zhao Gu, do you know who introduced Li Gu to? Mingyue blinked her eyes and said with some embarrassment, I feel that the introduction was quite good. If there is a suitable candidate, please also introduce someone to me. Upon hearing these words, Lao Zhao became enthusiastic and said, hi, I really know this. It was introduced by Lao Song's daughter-in-law, who is said to be his daughter-in-law's biological niece. However, if you want a partner, Teacher Ming, I can introduce them to you. I have a friend's son who looks like a talented person, and his age is just right for you. Amidst Lao Zhao's boasting, Mingyue's thoughts had already run away. Old Song was also the gatekeeper of the guard room. He usually looked quite honest, but he didn't expect his wife to be so ruthless that she would be willing to push her niece into the fire pit. Of course, based on the outcome of Wang Lian's previous life, these two families may not have been able to do it later, even relatives. Teacher Ming, Lao Zhao waved his hand in front of Mingyue. What do you think of this young man? Mingyue woke up and smiled politely. I feel pretty good, but I've been a bit busy lately. I'm afraid I'll have to finish my work before I have time. When Lao Zhao thought about it, it was really true that Teacher Ming works so late every day. How can he have time to meet people? It's okay, when you're busy, I'll make an appointment for you. Besides, this young man can't do it. There's another one left, Teacher Ming. Don't worry, I know so many young men. Lao Zhao said proudly, patting his chest. Mingyue was deeply moved and politely refused his kindness. However, Mingyue expressed her curiosity about the outcome of Li Jinbao's blind date. There is nothing interesting about the guard room, and it is rare to encounter Mingyue who is willing to chat with the old men. Naturally, Lao Zhao is willing to share gossip with her. So within 2 days, Mingyue found out that Li Jinbao's mother was quite satisfied with Wang Liyan, saying that she liked her high salary and big butt, which made her look like she had a son. Now that Li Jinbao is off work, she is running to Heike Space Decoration Engineering Company, Limited, hoping to finalize the matter with Wang Liyan quickly. Quickly settle it down. Mingyue looked at the Black Chess Space Decoration Engineering Company, Limited in front of her and hooked her lips. Let's live our next life. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. 008 Substituting Guilty Girlfriend 8. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8008 Substituting Guilty Girlfriend 8 Black Chess Space Decoration is a construction company that integrates house design and decoration engineering. The company is not large in scale and has not many overall personnel. However, due to its high cost-effectiveness among peers, it is still somewhat popular in the local area. Moreover, today is Saturday, so there are even more guests coming and going to decorate the black chess space. Mingyue pushed open the door and sat on the sofa for a while before the front desk lady had time to receive her. The front desk handed over a disposable water glass and said with a hint of apology, "I'm sorry, madam. I'm a bit busy today. May I ask what kind of business do you want to handle?" Mingyue took the water glass and expressed her gratitude, shaking her head and saying, "It's okay, I'm looking for designer Wang Liyan." The front desk scrutinized Mingyue's attire without leaving a trace, with a professional smile on her face. "Please wait in the adjacent reception room, I will go find manager Wang." Well, small companies like this also have a characteristic, 10 designers and 9 managers. Mingyue nodded and went smoothly to the nearby reception room. Before long, the door to the waiting room was pushed open. Wang Liyan is of medium height, with a slightly plump figure. On a flat Chinese face, she has a pair of apricot eyes that are very beautiful and agile. Her hair is meticulously tied into a ball-shaped head, and coupled with her very plain and unadorned attire, she appears to be a very practical and simple girl. This is a completely different story from the one in Mingyue's memory. Wang Liyan, who always had a gloomy face, appeared old at a young age, and was filled with despair about the world all over her body. The truth that marrying the wrong person will ruin one's life is vividly demonstrated in Wang Liyan. "Hello, I'm Wang Liyan. May I ask if you're looking for me?" Wang Liyan looked at Mingyue with some curiosity, as she was not very good at speaking. She didn't actually have many clients, let alone came to the company to find her without saying hello. Mingyue smiled and said, "Hello, my name is Mingyue, and I am a teaching assistant at number 7 middle school. I learned from the gatekeeper Li Jinbao and Li Ge that you work in decoration design. The thing is, I want to open a milk tea shop next to number 7 middle school, thinking that acquaintances are good at handling things. So, I would like to ask you to help me design the storefront decoration. Do you think it's okay? Wang Liyan really didn't expect that this would be a customer introduced by Li Jinbao. She was stunned for a moment before nodding and saying, "Of course it's possible. What style do you like?" Mingyue was originally a last-minute initiative, thinking that the 200,000 yuan would also depreciate and be used for business. There was nothing better than the business next to the school, so she thought about opening a milk tea shop. As for the style, Mingyue shook her head and said, "I'm really not familiar with this aspect. Can you tell me specifically what styles there are?" Speaking of her area of expertise, Wang Liyan immediately became eloquent and said, "Well, generally speaking, milk tea shops have a casual style, fresh pastoral style, retro style, elegant and simple style. Like the popular internet celebrity shops nowadays. It has to be admitted that women who are immersed in their own careers are the most beautiful." At this moment, Wang Liyan doesn't have the same dull appearance as before, and her whole body looks radiant and radiant. "However, you said too much at once, and I'm a bit confused. Let's add a WeChat friend. I'll show you the types I like, and you can also send me the types you like. What do you think?" Mingyue said as she took out her phone and prepared to scan the code to add friends. Wang Liyan is already an honest and straightforward person, how can she refuse others? She could only nod and say, "Okay, okay." Having obtained contact information, Mingyue did not spend much time decorating in the black chess space and quickly said goodbye to Wang Liyan. However, before leaving, Mingyue said a few more words that she didn't want her wealth to be exposed, so she didn't tell anyone that she wanted to open a store. She also asked Wang Liyan to help her keep it confidential and not let Li Ge know. But Wang Liyan didn't think much at all, just made a serious promise not to tell anyone. Mingyue smiled heartily as she looked at her, no wonder the original owner wanted to help Wang Liyan. In fact, her temperament is somewhat similar to that of the original owner. However, this is even more difficult to handle because one is too honest and doesn't know how to refuse, which can lead to losses in many aspects. For example, Pu Xian mail requests to be together. Just a few days after Mingyue became friends with Wang Liyan, the two were in a state of half familiarity when she heard some bad news. "I think Li Jinbao's good news is coming soon. He has taken 2 days off and said he wants to have dinner with the parents of that girl. It's probably going to be settled." Old Zhaoan nodded as he spoke, and he whispered to Mingyue, "These past few days, Li Jinbao bought several packs of good cigarettes for Old Song. Old Song even came to show off to us old guys, it's like who can't afford them." The old Tang beside him also shook his head and said, "Come and compete with us old guys for a job at a young age. Li Jinbao doesn't have much success, he doesn't have any ambition from young people, and I don't know what Old Song is interested in about him. She's really a good girl for nothing. Lao Tang is a quiet person. When Lao Zhao and Mingyue chat, he just sits aside and listens without saying anything. Today, when he speaks, it is clear that he is a sober old man." The bright moon's eyes flickered, "A good thing is approaching. That won't work." Mingyue raised her bag in her hand and smiled, "I didn't expect Li to be so fast. Zhao and Tang, there are still some papers that haven't been corrected today, so I'll go back first." As soon as Lao Zhao looked at the bulging bag, his face immediately changed and he said, "Oh, that's it. Let's chat with you another day. You should hurry back and get busy with the business." Old Tang also nodded to the bright moon and said, "Business matters." Mingyue smiled and was able to escape. Returning to the dormitory building, Mingyue immediately called Wang Liyan. Mingyue was not at all tactful, so she hit a straight ball and said, "Manager Wang, I would like to invite you to have a meal and talk about the decoration. Do you think you have time over there?" When Wang Liyan received the phone call, she felt a bit embarrassed and quickly said, "Well, just call me by my name." "Dinner. When?" Mingyue looked at the time and said at 6:12 p.m., "Do you think it's okay now?" I also have to attend evening self-study classes tonight. Wang Liyan looked at the message from Li Jinbao about having dinner together with some hesitation. After a pause, she still agreed to Mingyue's appointment, as sending a message to refuse was easier for her to accept than refusing in person. Okay, where can we eat? Right next to your company's Yuan hot pot restaurant. By the way, can you eat spicy food? It's possible. Okay, that's settled. I'll come over right away. Okay, I'll wait for you. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. 009 Substituting Girlfriend 9. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9009 Substituting Girlfriend 9. It's easy to feel awkward when two unfamiliar people sit together for a meal. However, Mingyue is a very lively person. As soon as she saw Wang Liyan, she pulled her around and chatted, which actually relaxed Wang Liyan's tense heart. And hot pot is cooked while eating, which gives you more free time to talk. As they chatted, they became even more familiar with each other. By the way, do you have an internal discount for decoration? I heard from Brotherly that his family would give him a local loan to buy a house, and then let you go out for decoration, but his house is his mother's decision, and the house is written with his mother's name. As soon as the voice ended, Mingyue quickly stuck out her tongue again. Sorry, shouldn't I say this? This is really not Mingyue's fabrication. It was Lao Zhao secretly poking Mingyue, and Lao Zhao even secretly cursed Li Jinbao for having a lot of thoughts in his family. The smile on Wang Liyan's face suddenly became somewhat forced. In fact, she didn't have a good impression of Li Jinbao, who was too sturdy, and even had some fear. After all, if he were to attack her, she would have no ability to retaliate. It's just that the family thinks Li Jinbao is good, and it's time for her to get married at her age. She doesn't know how to refuse, so she keeps in touch with him. Now that she had heard Mingyue's words, Wang Liyan's heart immediately began to ache. Women in the new society are not fools. According to the current marriage law, the man buying a house and letting the woman do the decoration is a calculation in itself. Moreover, the house still bears the name of the man's mother. This is simply a blatant response to people, treating them like fools. After hesitating for a moment, Wang Liyan still mustered the courage to ask, Mingyue, what kind of person do you think Li Jinbao is? Mingyue blinked her eyes and said sincerely, to tell you the truth, he is not worthy of you. You may not know that Brotherly, he is a mama treasure man. Usually, his mother always talks and shuts up, and everything should be done according to his mother's ideas. Moreover, you can see from his name that their family actually values boys more than girls. Speaking of which, Mingyue shook her head and sighed, you are a designer, earning more money than him, having a wider network of acquaintances, and having better future development than him. Who can't stand you? Why did you introduce him to you? Wang Liyan listened as her eyebrows tightened. No wonder the aunt, who has always been at odds with her mother, would kindly introduce her to someone. It turns out that this kind of person is being introduced. What else do you say about Li Jinbao? He is simple, honest, and obedient, with a stable and easy job. Getting married is like enjoying happiness. Thinking of aunt constantly praising Li Jinbao in various ways these days and urging her to settle down with him, she felt a pang of nausea and vomiting in her heart. If what Mingyue said is true, wouldn't the Li family be a huge fire pit? But, thinking of Li Jinbao, who has been relatively honest in recent days, Wang Liyan hesitated a bit. After all, she hasn't known Mingyue yet, how can she be certain that what Mingyue said is true? Mingyue also noticed her hesitation and immediately changed the topic with a smile. By the way, I want to adopt a retro style in the milk tea shop, and the milk tea cups also use special printed cups, including. It's better to keep emphasizing some things until they are pointed out, but it's too deliberate to keep emphasizing them. Upon hearing Mingyue mention something serious, Wang Liyan had to suppress all her suspicions and reluctantly gather her energy to reply, sure, have you decided on the store name? Actually, now. Then the two of them chatted for a while eating. Wang Lian obviously took Mingyue's words into her heart and answered the questions several times, feeling somewhat absent-minded. Seeing her goal achieved, Mingyue finished her meal and settled the bill, then separated from Wang Lian. Wang Lian rushed to pay the bill, but was rejected by Mingyue. After all, it was the person she had arranged with. Moreover, Mingyue is not deceiving anyone. She really wants to attend evening self-study. In the following days, Mingyue chatted with Wang Lian every day. Sometimes it's just casual chat, and sometimes it's about decoration. The storefront next to the school, Mingyue, has already been rented out, and the decoration has been arranged at Heike Space Decoration Company, Limited. The designer, of course, chose Wang Lian. Not to mention anything else, Wang Lian still has some talent and genuine materials in design, and every suggestion she puts forward is very pleasing to Mingyue. The two of them almost got along more and more as they chatted, getting more and more familiar, so Wang Lian also became more and more convinced of Mingyue's words. So a few days later, Mingyue heard Lao Zhao say that Li Jinbao's matter was going to be blown up, and his daughter didn't like him anymore. Lao Zhao pouted and shook his head. Li Jinbao is really not good, he's a bit stingy. He's been chasing his daughter for money these past few days, saying that since he doesn't agree, he'll give him back everything he ate and drank for free. This time, Mingyue didn't listen much to Lao Zhao, but chose to directly ask Wang Lian. Anyway, she occasionally has to stare at the decoration of the milk tea shop, and she has been in contact with Wang Lian more and more. Wang Lian smiled bitterly and said, "I thought what you said was exaggeration before, but I just tested it and found out that what you said was relatively light." That day, Li Jinbao and I. After listening to Mingyue's words, Wang Lian felt a lump in her heart. Then when we had dinner with Li Jinbao, she would always ask about Li Jinbao's family, intentionally or unintentionally. Before, she was too embarrassed to speak up about these things, always thinking that she would know about them in the future. However, this question led to trouble, because when Li Jinbao spoke up, it was always my mother who told her what to do. Just like the Li family is in power with Li's mother, she has to make up her mind to even order a few bowls of rice. When Wang Lian again tentatively mentioned the house, the betrothal gifts and the banquet, Li Jinbao changed his face again. He criticized her for asking for the betrothal gifts to sell her daughter, and said that his mother said that she would buy the house, but the Wang family had to decorate it, or sell her daughter. As for the money collected from the banquet, of course, the Li family had to take it back. In short, all the benefits must be given to the Li family, otherwise it would be your Wang family selling their daughter. As for whether to have a son or a daughter after marriage, that's even more ridiculous. Li Jinbao said that his family has been passed down for 3 generations, and it is necessary to have a son in order to continue the tradition. Having a daughter in their hometown would not even raise their head and would be looked down upon by everyone. Thinking of that dinner that day, Wang Lian still feels like a thorn in her throat, and Qing has already died. There is no one to wrap her feet around, but some people are still wrapped in their cerebellum. And after she stated that the two of them had different values and were not suitable for each other, something even funnier happened. Li Jinbao brought out a consumption list. On the list, she even had to reimburse the cost of his taxi to find her for meals. She even said that if he didn't come to find her, he wouldn't spend that money. Moreover, she even recorded the bottle of mineral water he usually bought for her, which really left her speechless. In addition, Aunt has been calling her all day to scold her for not being sensible and being too picky, and Wang Lian has been going crazy these days. When Mingyue asked this question, Wang Lian couldn't help but feel annoyed. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. 010 Substituting Girlfriend 10. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10 010 Substituting Girlfriend 10. However, after Wang Lian roast, she could not help but rejoice. Fortunately, she learned about Li Jinbao's true face before the matter was settled, otherwise she would have suffered more in the future. I really appreciate you, Mingyue. If it weren't for you, I would have listened to my aunt's advice and been engaged to him. Wang Lian thought of this and shook her head in fear, saying, I don't know how to refuse others. If I really marry Li Jinbao, everything is under the control of his mother. I feel suffocated when I think about it. Mingyue patted her shoulder and curiously said, by the way, how did you handle the consumption list? Upon hearing these words, Wang Lian chuckled and said, I've already given him all that money, and since it's not much, I'll just consider it a waste of money to avoid disaster. My parents used to quite like Li Jinbao and thought he was honest and reliable. When I said I didn't agree, they even scolded me for being too picky. As a result, I showed them the consumption list Li Jinbao gave them, and they changed it to scolding my aunt and Li Jinbao. Considering that Wang Lian and Li Jinbao haven't had much contact for a long time, the money spent is naturally not much. Li Jinbao's behavior of asking for money is not very harmful, it is purely a response to others. Mingyue saw that her condition was okay and felt quite happy in her heart. Congratulations on getting out of the sea of suffering. Wang Lian's face turned bitter and she let out a long sigh. But my family has introduced me to someone else, and they all say that when I get old, I must settle down. What's the point of living with someone I don't know? Mingyue was stunned, but she didn't expect her family to be so anxious. At this moment, Mingyue realized the difficulty of the original owner's wish, because without Li Jinbao, as well as Wang Jinbao, Song Jinbao, Zhang Jinbao. How could she be certain that Wang Lian could escape the persecution of every bad man? So, Wang Lian must stand up on her own. As long as Wang Lian stands up on her own, even if those men are too despicable, she has the courage and strength to abandon them and start a new life at any time. In just a moment, Mingyue had a bottom in her heart. Lian, what kind of life do you want in the future? Mingyue looked into Wang Lian's eyes and asked seriously. Wang Lian was stunned. She seemed to have never thought about what kind of life she would lead and what kind of life she should lead. From childhood to adulthood, she followed her parents' arrangements in every detail, from studying to working to going on blind dates. If there are no accidents, the future will also follow the arrangements, get married, have children, and then a lifetime will pass like this. As for what she wants to do, Wang Lian remembered the paintbrush that was thrown away by her mother when she was a child. In fact, her dream was to become a painter, but her mother said that drawing is a waste of time and that she should do homework when she has that time. Later on, she learned interior design because her father's friend said it was a profitable profession. However, she herself was not sure how much she liked this industry. After a while, Wang Lian shook her head with a dejected expression and said, I can't imagine what the future will be like. Maybe I will listen to our family's wedding and have children, and then live a simple life of mutual respect. Looking at Wang Lian's temperament, Mingyue knew that her parents at home were either honest and cowardly like her, or had a strong desire for control and a strong personality. Obviously, she was the latter type. Mingyue tilted her head and asked calmly, do you like that kind of life? Marrying unfamiliar people, having children, taking care of both parents, wandering between unfamiliar relatives and friends, and occasionally arguing over money or lifestyle habits. Wang Lian's eyebrows furrowed and tightened, and of course she didn't like this kind of life. But most people in this world live this way. Wang Lian lightly bit her lip and said, so what about you? Mingyue, hasn't your family ever urged you? If it were you, how would you choose? Mingyue smiled and said, of course I choose myself. Whether it's family or friends, they can't decide my own life. If I want to get married, it must be because I want to marry that person. If I want to have a child, it must be because I am prepared to conceive and I like that child. Lian, you should also do the same. Don't rush to choose someone to answer the exam because of others' urging. Wang Lian fell silent. Should she choose herself? She needs to think carefully. Life at number 7 middle school is very simple. Apart from daily work, the moon spends all day wandering around the milk tea shop. Thanks to Lao Zhao's words, Mingyue heard a lot of gossip. The latest thing is that Li Jinbao and Old Song had a falling out, and the reason was that Wang Lian didn't get along with Li Jinbao. Li Jinbao asked Old Song to pay him back for his cigarettes. But Old Song was already a strict wife, with only a few yuan in pocket money on weekdays and no money to repay Li Jinbao. Then the two of them argued over those few packs of cigarette money while on duty, and also during shift changes. They were surprised to see many jokes for Lao Zhao and others. You should know that Old Song was still showing off those cigarettes back then. Take a look, it's not that he didn't report it, it's not time yet. We cannot underestimate the self-cultivation of any stingy man. Li Jinbao has really taken the word stingy to the extreme. However, it's also good. With Lao Song as a warning, no one would dare to introduce Li Jinbao to anyone else. After all, where is marriage? Clearly, it is adding enmity. Without Wang Lian, an honest person, it would be difficult to find a partner just because Li Jinbao is ugly, fat, poor, and stingy. Just Mingyue didn't expect that in a few days, Wang Lian would come to her with a relaxed face and tell her that she had already made an agreement with her family to get married when she met someone she liked. The relationship between parents and children is always like this, where one side has a strong attitude, while the other will have a weak attitude. Wang Lian has long been an adult, and her attitude is resolute. Even if her parents are angry, they can't do anything about her. Besides, there is still Li Jinbao in front of us, and these two old people are also feeling guilty. If our daughter were really with Li Jinbao, wouldn't it ruin our entire lives? However, what Mingyue didn't expect even more was that Wang Lian could breathe a sigh of relief as the Ming couple brought their precious son over. At the beginning, when Mingyue continued to call her father, she had a bad feeling in her heart. When Mingfu explained that Kong was not young anymore and playing at home was boring. He wanted to go to work and asked Mingyue to arrange a relaxed job for him, that bad feeling came true. And because Ming Kong was not at ease going out alone, the Ming couple prepared to personally deliver the person. In fact, there was also this incident in the original owner's memory, but by that time the original owner had already been imprisoned, and the Ming couple came over with their son, which ended the relationship. After all, they were afraid that having a reformed sister through labor would damage Ming Kong's reputation, and they were afraid that their precious son would suffer some injustice. End of this chapter.